Hey all, it's Cozy, and you guys know what time it is. I've got my notes. I've got no patience for this. And we are going to talk about Sister Wives, Season 18, Episode 9. Battle Lines Are Drawn. And I am not emotionally prepared for this, and I don't know if anyone else will be either. But we're going to get to see Janelle and Christine have dinner with the kids at Garrison's house. We're going to get to see Avalon's first birthday, which kind of not really. And Christine's going out for her ex anniversary, which she explains to us is the former anniversary of her marriage with Cody. So let's go. We're ready. We come into Flagstaff with a train. I love trains. My dad does model trains. I love trains. And Christine is getting ready to cook in Garrison's kitchen for the first time. And it looks like she has bought a lot in order to do this for him. And she says she went grocery shopping for him, which is so super cute because it feels like a mom sending her kid off to college or to his first house. And she's like, look at all the groceries. And he's like, thank you. And it's just so mom, which becomes very important as we go on, that Christine is a mom. So she lets us know that she wanted to give the older siblings somewhere to sort of vent their feelings and frustrations. And she did not have Truly with her. And that's smart. Truly benefits from this because A, she gets to go see her dad. B, she doesn't get to hear the things that her siblings are saying. And C, the siblings can vent without fear of hurting Truly or hurting her relationship with Cody. And so we get Janelle and Savannah coming in, and Savannah does the word jumblies. And I do the word jumblies all the time, which is why I have my notes so that I don't. But even when I do, I have the magic of editing myself. So no one ever has to know. Poor Savannah gets edited by other people. So with where you are and then where are you? Girl, it's fine. There's no shade here. I do this all the stinking time. And then Garrison says to Janelle, did you bring the pie? And he's very excited about key lime pie, which frankly, I love key lime pie, so I'd be excited too. And she's like, no, I brought the one for my nutrition plan. I have to go get yours. And I can't tell if it's like me where I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached or Janelle just forgot. I don't actually know what the story is, but it was still kind of cute. And then we get Christine having Savannah help her set up the salad bar. And I can't tell if Savannah's uncomfortable talking on camera or if she's just a little bit more reserved, trying to keep the inside thoughts inside. But at moments, she seems like she's trying to stay super measured. And you know that cadence. I do it too when I'm trying to come up with the right words so that I can convey my meaning, but I can convey it clearly. And frankly, if I were Savannah, I had a really hard time not spilling the tea. So if she's keeping the inside thoughts inside, good for her. But we get a spread of all of the salad bar things. And I paused at exactly the right moment to write some notes and saw the celery. TLC, I saw it. Do you think they're trying to manifest Cody? We know how much he loves celery. You think that's what the plan was, to manifest Cody and have him come hear all the things they think about him? Wouldn't matter. He's going to hear him anyway. He watches the show. And then we saw the Olive Garden dressing. And let me tell you, I know this family loves their Olive Garden, and no shade, because frankly, I'm the type of millennial that if I carried a purse, it would be full of Olive Garden breadsticks, right? But I can remember back in season 17 when Isabella moved, we just see like a scene, and Hunter is just going to town on an Olive Garden breadstick. And boy, I feel that now that I've talked about it so much. I kind of want Olive Garden. All right, fine, whatever. So Christine is sharing her vision. And she says, this is the tablecloth. There's no tablecloth that we can see. So either Christine is hoping we'll all imagine the tablecloth with her, or the tablecloth is intending to be set out at some point. And then she says, and look at these bowls, the matching bowls. And the way that she says it gives me this opinion that like Garrison is the kind of guy that just walks into Walmart and whatever the closest clearance bowls are to the front door, he's like, yep, those will do. Because the way that she says it is like, you actually have dishes now. And maybe Garrison really is all about the matching dishes, but that's not the vibe I got. So she reminds us it's been 6 months since she left, which if she left in September, that would put us in March. And let's try to just go with the flow here because the timeline is clearly messed up. Last episode, we were in May for Janelle's birthday, and now we have backtracked to March. Okay, whatever. So she says a lot's gone down with Cody and Robin in that time with the kids. And she said that seeing the kids at Christmas, they were sad. And it hurts to see them that sad. And she laments that she's been out of their life since leaving Flagstaff. But I would disagree. I get the feeling that when Christine comes to town, she's the kind of mom, hey, are you okay? I'm here. Do you want anything? Do you need anything? Do you want to get coffee? Or if they call her, hey, Christine, she's going to pick up the phone. Unlike somebody we know. So Christine's asking Savannah about school, and we flash back to Christine doing homeschool with Savannah. And Savannah is just this cute little kindergarten age kid writing her name in flour, which is a great way because you can just erase it and start over if you get it wrong. And my heart just starts to sink. And they don't show the scene I'm thinking of, but my heart starts to sink thinking about it. That scene in the very first episode where Cody comes in the house and goes into Janelle's house first, and she just comes running up to him. And all I can think is that little girl went from being able to run to her daddy's arms to whatever this is now. And it broke my heart. I cried. I legitimately cried. I couldn't imagine. And still being a kid and having that, it's just so hard. And Christine tells us that Savannah was so cute and is still cute, and she's right. Savannah's adorable. I love Savannah. So she asks Savannah, do you and Brianna see each other at school? And that's when we start getting into some of the hard stuff. Savannah says, yeah, her fourth period class is my third period class. So obviously everybody who's been to a public high school or possibly even a private high school knows that you're pretty much walking into each other trying to get into those classrooms. And so they give us the explanation of how Brianna and Savannah are essentially the same age. Aurora, Gabe, and Garrison Aurora, Gabe, and Gwen are slightly older than her, along with Isabel. And then, of course, we have Truly, who's 5 years younger than her, followed by Saul and Ari. But I would get the feeling that Savannah really doesn't have much of a relationship with Saul and Ari, and we're not going to dive too deeply into that. So we kind of get that explanation of how the kids are all aged. And Christine says, oh, so do you hang out with each other? And she's like, no, we don't talk. I don't talk to her. We kind of just ignore each other. And Christine kind of does that slack jaw, like surprised, but almost not surprised kind of face. Like, I didn't want that to be the case, but I'm not surprised that it is. And we get Brianna and Aurora on the couch together. And before this episode, I really thought that maybe Brianna was just kind of caught in the crossfire of everything, and that Aurora kind of gave me the mean girl vibe. And I feel like she was getting the edit for the mean girl vibe. And now I'm starting to wonder if maybe I had it wrong. And there'll be further explanation for why I think I had it wrong, and maybe I'm still wrong, but Brianna totally gave me the popular mean girl, you can't sit with us kind of vibe in this couch interview. She said, me and Savannah, we're decent to each other. And where I come from, because I'm originally from the Midwest, that's just it's not really how we talk about each other. And maybe it is how you would say things about each other in a different area. If you're from an area that uses that phraseology, let me know, because this is just not normal where I'm from. And so, it's just not a way you would talk about your siblings. Like, it's just not a way you would, it's strange to me. And she says, I wasn't super, what'd she say? I wasn't super great and close because COVID. And I thought back, and I cannot think of a time where we have seen Brianna and Savannah hang out, just them, or really just hang out at all. The flashbacks we see, Savannah is with Gwen, Savannah is with Aurora in one of them. And the only reason I know it's Aurora is she is so much taller than Savannah and looks like Aurora. We don't see Brianna and Savannah together. And even when they're trying to show us how close they are, they're separated and in pictures. There's not footage to just show us. And maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's just kind of how it felt. And so I look back and I think, okay. And then Brianna says, I just sort of feel shocked and confused and like she doesn't care. I don't know what the right word is, but it broke my heart a little. And all I could hear was Robin. I could hear Robin saying those words for her, but then I also could hear the Thanksgiving talk. You know what I'm talking about, where she sat everybody down and was like, they don't want to come see you. They don't want to be a part of this family kind of thing. And maybe I'm being a huge jerk here. I didn't think any of it was real. And I'll tell you why. Brianna crying over Savannah when she sees her every day at school seems fake to me. How hard is it? You're walking through the door to just be like, oh, hi. That's normal. Like, just a hi is normal. But to outright ignore each other, not as normal. And so on the flip side, if Savannah were sitting on the couch crying about Brianna, I wouldn't believe it either. So this is not a one-sided thing. I wouldn't believe either of them, and I don't. But Brianna's face also does not convey the emotion she's trying to give to us. I'm getting a lot of clenched jaw, of over expression, but not a lot of emotion in the eyes. And maybe I'm biased, but it just felt weird. It felt weird. So Janelle comes to tell us like it is and says that Savannah and Brianna have no relationship. And Christine's like, it's heartbreaking. And it is heartbreaking because Janelle and Christine worked so hard to make sure that their family was a cohesive unit, that they maintained a family structure where the kids were siblings. They weren't cousins. They weren't kids who didn't know each other. They were siblings. And so I can see how that would be really difficult. And obviously, a lot of the kids very much so view each other as siblings. We saw almost all of the OG 13 kids at Christine's wedding in those photos. And I'm not going to get into who was or wasn't there and why. I don't follow the Patreons. I made a short about it before. We're not going to get into the drama and speculation of that. We'll just get into the drama of the television show and speculate wildly on what's being shown on our screens there. So, it's come down to two separate families, and that's very strange. But the isolation that Robin has put her kids into from the very beginning, I mean, she never raised her kids with anybody else. And it seems strange to me because she talks about not being done and wanting them to raise her youngest kids, but she didn't even raise the other three with Christine and Janelle. And that seems difficult. I mean, we don't really see the kids get together except for family events on camera. So I can't imagine that behind the scenes, it's that much different. So Christine asks Savannah if her relationship with her siblings has been like this always, or if this is a new development. And Savannah said she's always had a hard time with her siblings, especially the ones close to her age. And I don't know what that means. I'm not going to speculate on it, but she does clarify that as she's gotten older, her relationship has changed, which is absolutely normal. In a large family or a small family, your relationships have to grow and change as people grow and change. So Savannah points out that she was never as close to any of Robin's kids as she was to Christine's kids. Once again, makes sense. Christine basically raised them in one home together. And even when they moved to Vegas, if you watch, you can see different kids in the backgrounds of different wives' homes. There's different kids there. It's not always prominent, but you can see it. So Christine asks her more about seeing her dad that day. Is that true? You saw dad today. Was it okay that Truly was there? And she does talk about how Truly hadn't seen Cody since Christmas and before that since September, which is a weird thing when you think about the fact that we saw that scene, the infamous floor watermelon scene, right? We get a shot from outside where it says Happy Father's Day. There's 4th of July decor in the house, and there's a floor watermelon. And the way that that was aired kind of seemed like it was to make us feel like Cody was a good dad and he was seeing her even though Christine had left. But if Christine's telling us this, that means that no, that scene was definitely out of order. It probably was filmed in between Father's Day and the 4th of July, more than likely. It may have even been filmed for Father's Day, which frankly would have actually made Cody look a little better in my mind than airing it out of order, because airing it out of order and hearing this now really kind of demonizes him. And I get that he can't control the edit. So I'm going to take that and say, hey, that's bad editing. But it's still bad that he hasn't seen his kid since September, and then Christmas, and then it's March. So in that time span, 2 times, not good. So Christine apologizes for everything that's going on, and Savannah said it's been so long that everything's been so strange. I don't even notice that he's and she's kind of smiling and looking down as she's saying it. And then she looks at Christine, and the look on her face, and I don't want to read too much into it, but the look on her face isn't so much like, am I allowed to say this? It's more like, Dad is going to see this. And Christine finishes and says, around. And
And I kind of get that vibe, like with Meri from the last episode, where she's like, I just want Cody to care. And he doesn't. And then the second question I have is this Savannah's late Christmas? Cody said he'd bring it to her, but it'd be late. And this sounds like it's the first time she's seen him since her birthday. Um, Christine lets us know that you don't know how broken things are until you hear it from your kids. And she's right. And then we are off to Parowan. And I have said before that Meri and Jen, I was worried about their clips as they were going to be boring and dumb, and frankly, I'm here for them. I can't lie, I'm here for them. They're cleaning out the carriage house. I almost said storage shed, but it's a carriage house in Parowan. And Meri's given us the lowdown on how it's all going to work. And she says, it's a really easy move. It's cheap. It's in town. And I understand she just means moving the things from the carriage house to the storage facility. But it almost kind of sounds like she already lives in Parowan. That's not what she means. And then she's talking about why she rented her house in Flagstaff. And she points out that she rented a big giant house for family events. But they've never held a family event there. And if you think back to when Cody and Robin were talking about buying the house, when Robin lost her rental in the first place, they said, oh no, we need a home base for events. And Meri was like, yeah, we can do it at my house. And no. And I think of all the times that Meri has wanted something, whether it was she used to be the family photographer, or she wanted to hold these events, or she didn't get to have Christmas Eve, or Robin does the turkey. And frankly, I can see why Meri might feel the way she feels and why she behaves the way that she does. And I'm starting to understand her a little better and dislike her slightly less. So we get to meet Jen's husband, and I can't lie. When she started like awkwardly flirting and showing him off, that's me. I am that kind of wife. People are like, "Oh, is this your husband?" I'm like, "Yes, this is him. He's cute. I love him. He's fantastic. I will keep him forever. He is mine." And it's almost one of those situations where it's like, "Yes, he's a lot cuter than me, and I don't know what to do with this information. Please believe that we're married," kind of things. And I can't lie, I laughed and I was like, "Oh, that's me. That's my spirit animal." So Meri says, you can see his undies. So Jen's trying to hold a glove over them to like hide them. And he playfully admonishes her, Meri, I'm trying to do something. And the dynamic between them is so great because I can see that this is what Meri has been longing for forever. This is what she hoped for from her sister wives and from her husband. And she's finally getting it. And that makes me super happy for her. And then she talks about how it's weird to have a man around to do things and how Cody used to help her, but it's been a hot minute. Babes, it's been a hot decade, and that might be mean, but it's true. So she says she still considers them married because of their spiritual commitment, and she considers that spiritual commitment valid. But they've lived very separate lives. And part of me, I we see the transition of Meri in her confessionals. So we see her looking a little less than put together, I'm going to say, in those first confessionals. I mean, the hair was a little wild. She was a little less than put together. And then this new confessional look with the leather jacket and the blue shirt, I'm here for it. That sort of strawberry color she's put into her hair, she's looking good. And so I honestly think that she's having to dig deep to go back to how she felt then for those confessionals. Because I get the feeling, based off of the way she's behaved previously, that these confessionals were filmed well after she decided she was done. That's my opinion. And I'm going to base that opinion off the fact that the way that she looks in the trailer when she tells Cody and Robin, this isn't what I want, versus the way she looks in her confessional are vastly different. Um, so Meri asked Sean how it is that how he feels about his wife being best friends with a polygamist, and babes, it's not a problem because you're not anymore. You were, and you may have considered yourself that when you and Jen first met, but that's not who or what you are any longer. And that's unfortunate because I get it. You started this family, you're still a part of this family insofar as that you have children who belong in this family. And you helped start it, but frankly, Cody has shunned you. And the answer is it's still your family, but you aren't a polygamist. And she starts talking about how easy the relationship with Jen is and how much fun that she has. And we know that once upon a time she had a fun relationship with Christine. They've talked about it in the book. They were friends before the marriages ever happened. And she says that she and Janelle have always been kind of rocky. Once again, I get it. There's a lot of history there. Janelle was married to her brother. Rest in peace, Adam. I'm so sorry to hear of his passing. Um, and then I think she kind of felt like Cody and Janelle sort of just sprung this on her, and she was very blindsided by their marriage. They wanted to get married on Mary's birthday. It was a whole thing, and frankly, I don't blame her for feeling any type of way about it. Um, and then she says about the friendship she's always had with Robin. And frankly, I think it's fake. I don't think Robin was ever really Mary's friend. And if you want a video on why I think that, I'm happy to provide it, but I am not going to go on an extra 20-minute tangent. This video is already going to be long enough as it is. But if you want it, comment down below. I will be happy to share with you any of my thoughts about anything I say. If you want a video about anything, comment, tell me. I'll even go try watching some different TV shows if you'd like me to try them. Um, Anyway, we see the scene from Robin and Cody's wedding where Mary's fixing his bow tie, and frankly, that scene still grosses me out. Whatever. and Jen then asks her husband, "Am I the best wife?" And Mary's like, "You can't ask that in polygamy." And then she kind of says, "Well, but some husbands would tell you." You mean like your ex husband? Because your ex husband does plenty of telling us. He will tell you as soon as all of the ex wives stop talking because he has a lot to let you know about what the favorite means and how none of these other women could ever have achieved it. So we get Janelle coming in to tell us that he's not allowed to have favorites because it's supposed to bring him to better himself. He's supposed to move past that and become a better version of himself. And my understanding of the Mormon scripture, and I've never been LDS, so I could be completely wrong about this. Feel free to tell me if I am. Is that one of the tenets of polygamy? The point was that you were supposed to push past the selfishness of the mortal life to attain a higher status in the celestial kingdom. And maybe I'm wrong, but that seems to actually make sense to me if it doesn't. Listen, I grew up Baptist and now I have no labels. I just believe what's in the Bible. So if I'm wrong, please, by all means, tell me I'm wrong. I would love to know. So now Cody is going to come and crap all over everything that Janelle said by telling us that being a favorite is about being loyal, which none of these other women ever were. Okay, okay. And so then he starts talking about it's about loyalty. And if you don't have loyalty with a wife, then she's, and I swear on everything I can think of, it sounds like he's about to say Teflon, which makes zero sense in this context. He's used it before, but at least in the context he's used it before, it made some level of sense. But no, I swear he's about to tell us that if you have no loyalty with a wife, she's Teflon. Whatever. He changes it to say, you'll struggle with her. And then Janelle comes back to tell us most men fail, obviously. Okay. So we scoot on back to Garrison's house, and Gabe is arriving. And happy late birthday to Gabe. I could not get on YouTube to say anything, and frankly, it wouldn't have mattered because it's not like he's going to watch my channel, but still. And happy birthday to Gwen, too. Um, I mean, I know I remembered, so I really hope someone else did. Cody. Um, So Christine says, "When are you moving in?" And Gabe says, "Probably this weekend." And we get the whole thing about how Gabe and Gwen are going to move in with Garrison, and that is too many G's in one house, and I'm going to constantly get confused. And she says, there's something about living with someone who cares, whether you come home at night or you don't. And she's right. There is something very special about knowing that if I stayed out all night, there would be somebody here who would want to make sure I was safe and okay, who wants me to come home. And it's very nice. And you're right. It doesn't have to be a parent. It can just be somebody who loves you. You're right, Janelle. So Christine comes back to tell us that they're very different politically and just in general beliefs. And frankly, I actually kind of think that's a good thing. Growing up is about learning to navigate relationships around you with people you may not agree with. I've spent some time this past week with some people who very much so. We have different belief systems politically. And instead of choosing to fight with anybody, my thought is I'm going to ask open ended questions. I don't need to sway you to my opinion, but I do want to understand yours. And that's a learned skill. And you can't learn that skill without someone challenging you. And I think this could be really good for all three of them to be challenged and make sure they're not living in an echo chamber. Um, so uh, Janelle points out that Cody took Truly, and she actually seems kind of shocked. And Christine's like, yeah, Cody took Truly. He never calls and asks for her, so I called and asked him to babysit. And there are two important things in there. He never asks for her. Please keep that in your mind for a little bit later. And I asked him to babysit. And that tells me, as a mom, everything I need to know about where she views Cody's level of parenting. Because I would never call my husband parenting our children babysitting. If he is with them, because I am unavailable for a multitude of reasons, grocery store, doctor's appointment, for pity's sake, taking a shower, he is not babysitting our children. He is actively engaging in their lives. And I'm sure there's a lot of parents in here who understand what I'm trying to say. And maybe if you're not a parent, you can still kind of get what I'm trying to say because it does give off a vibe the way that she says it. Um, I also really would like to know how many COVID tests you truly have to take to be able to come in the house and stay the night, Cody? 1, 12, 48? Just out of curiosity, you made her take one for Christmas because Aurora, so how many did she have to take to come in today? How many did Savannah have to take for you to hang out with her? Just saying. So she says that Truly's going to stay the night, and Truly's super excited because she feels like she has a great relationship with Cody. And I think that Christine's explanation of how she preserved that relationship is actually really accurate because Truly is not there now to feel like she's being ignored. In fact, Christine took the onus of being the bad guy onto herself so that Cody could remain the good guy. Mom took me, so it's not your fault. She actually helped him. He's never going to see it that way, but she did. And of course, Cody comes back and is like, nope, she took her away because how is Truly going to know how much I hate her mom if she's not there for me to ignore? I mean, okay, I'm extrapolating that from his relationship with Savannah, but whatever. So we cut back, and Chanel asks the boys if they've spoken to their dad, and they say no. And this is where things get bad. Husband got up to leave a few times during this. He had a can of root beer that by the end of the episode was just crushed into oblivion. And he is not an aggressive man, but I could tell he is very upset. So Gabe says, I remember him saying something along the lines of he only cares about his minor children. And then without missing a beat, he says, will you pass the French dressing, Mom? Like what he said was not super distressing and was just a normal thing for dads to say about any of their children. Like it didn't even matter, he says this. And I watched Christine's face and I don't think she knew what to say. And she just kind of whispers, I'm sorry, as though it's her fault. And it just, you can feel the anger and the resentment just below the surface, even though Gabe's face and words aren't necessarily displaying it. You can feel the hurt. And Garrison comes out with a, yeah, man, I just work here. And in the context of the conversation, I don't get it, but everyone laughs. So as long as everybody's laughing, but if you pause at just the right moment, you can see Savannah's face. And she is looking down at her plate. She's not touching a fork. Her hand is above her plate. And she's just got this kind of purse lipped look. And part of me, I paused it. And when I paused it, I immediately went, I don't know if she knew this. And imagine being a minor child of Cody's that he is ignoring And now you're hearing that he only cares about his minor children. Or imagine being a minor child who has heard this before and he's ignoring. And you're saying to yourself, but I'm a minor and he doesn't care. Either way, my heart broke. So Janelle says that Cody has trouble relating to his older children and dotes on the younger ones because the younger ones still find his opinion and his guidance important. And fine. But you know what? Questioning things isn't disrespect. You want me to disrespect you? I can disrespect you 6 ways to Sunday. But asking you a question is not disrespect. Asking you a question or asking to clarify positions or even asking for different ideas is just conversation. Sorry. And then we get Robin, to tell us how great his relationship with his older kids was pre COVID. And no, it wasn't. It wasn't. And we know that because we've seen some of the older kids say that they've had issues with him from before COVID. And then, of course, she says, and then Christine left and it all changed. Get your name out your mouth. Get her name out your mouth. I'm serious. I'm done. Stop talking about her. You said last episode that they need to stop talking about you, then you stop talking about her. And she is not responsible for his choices. She is responsible for her choices. She is responsible for everything that she has done. Just like you, Robin, are responsible for all the words and stupidity that are falling out of your mouth right now. And that is how that works. Back to Garrison. He tells us that since he last talked to his dad, he's bought the house, gotten into school, and bought the car his dad never told him to buy. And I figured it out. That's the disrespect. That's it. Because when I bought a Ford instead of a Subaru, my dad stopped talking to me for 5 years. Wait, no. When I bought a Ford instead of a Subaru and then traded that Ford in 5 years later for a Subaru, he said, I told you so. That's it. That's how that actually works. Got it. And Christine asks him, so he doesn't know anything? And Garrison responds with, he doesn't care to. And yeah. So Cody comes on to let us know that he reached out to Gabe and Garrison before Christmas and after Christmas, but they have him blocked. And if they do, good on them. Frankly, great job, boys. It takes a lot to block people out of your life that are not good for your life, and I'm proud of you for doing it. My block list is super short, but Cody'd be on it, frankly. So then Gwen arrives, and we know it's about to pop off because we see Gwen in the previews when it does pop off. And so, yeah. And Garrison, I have no idea why this made me laugh so hard, honest to goodness. But Garrison just awkwardly is like, we have pie. Like, I don't know. So we pan over, and Janelle is now in the corner with her laptop, and she's just like she's gonna take notes for this episode, like I was taking notes. And I know it's not the same laptop because I'm sure she has an Apple and I have a not because I don't have TLC money. But both silver. So I'm like, I'm gonna pretend we're doing it together, kind of thing. Because yeah, whatever. Anyway, so Gabe's like, smash the pie in Gwen's face, and no, don't because I really like a key lime pie, and I'd be distressed if you just wasted a pie like that. Anyway, so Christine starts dishing the pie and asking the kids to dish out that tea, and I think she deserves a producer credit for it because, frankly, my petty butt is here for it. Is it the healthiest thing? Maybe not, but it's a TV show, and Gwen wastes no time letting us know exactly what went down with that Secret Santa thread. She's talking about how Robin wants to do it over Zoom, and it starts immediately guilting with Ari doesn't remember any of you, and Robin, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. You're the mom. Get out some family pictures. Oh, this is your sister. Oh, this is your brother. I'm sorry, I won't let you see them, but here you go. Like, literally anything. Just saying, that's a you problem. Stop isolating your children. And Garrison comes to remind us that the Secret Santa has been a thing for 20 years and explains how it works. And since we all know how it works, I'm not going to take the time for that. We're going to go right back to the tea. Um, so we get another kid who allegedly started the thread. Now it's Aspen. It was Logan. And then McKelty, I guess, on her Patreon said that it was her, and now it's Aspen. And even if it was Aspen, it probably was like a hey to the oldest five. Hey. And if you'll remember, they always left McKelty out of it. It was usually Aspen, Logan, Hunter, Maddie, and Mary's child. I'm not going to get confused here, so that's where we're going. Um, and she probably sent a text out to all of them like, "Hey, are we going to do the gift exchange? And if so, can someone else take over? Because I don't want to be involved in the drama." Um, and uh, so we come back to Gwen talking about the Zoom call, right? And she's like, people were saying it was impersonal and trying to give other ideas. And she's like, what if it's a competition? Which mom does it quicker? And I don't know what that means. And I don't need to know what that means, but it's an idea. I don't, okay. And she says, Robin starts bringing up trauma and past trauma and making things about herself. And Gwen says, and I'm going to look at my notes here to get this right, which, by the way, where's the trauma coming from? Because dad prefers them. And ooh, gloves are off. Gloves are off. So Eeyore comes in to say that Cody didn't choose them from her perspective. And girl, if your vision is that bad, you need to get it checked because I'm having vision troubles and I can see this clearly. She tells us her sob story again about wanting to be loved and accepted and how none of the parents ever supported her in the blending of the families while we're watching footage of the parents supporting the blending of the families. Just saying. And Robin, you didn't blend your families. You inserted yourself into a family because there's an episode way back in the day where Christine's like, I think we blended well. You've integrated perfectly into our family. And Robin's like, yes, and you've integrated into mine, which I'm not even joking. From the first time I saw that episode, I was like, ooh, that was passive aggressive. Like, I don't have to change to be in your family. You need to change to fit mine. And I literally thought it was passive aggressive since the first time I saw it. So, and it, it bothers me. It's like saying, I don't give a good gosh darn about how you feel about it. You need to change to fit me. And then she starts saying that after 10 years, the hard things started going away. Well, what started going away after about 10 years? Oh, the other wives. So she tells us that when COVID hit, she and her kids were excluded again by you. By you. Everybody was trying to find ways to get together. Janelle wanted to quarantine altogether. Everyone was trying to find a way to maintain these relationships, and you shut down everything. I mean, I knew people who were high risk who still found time, who still found a way to be connected to the people around them. Maybe not physically connected, but just connected. And I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for you because you've locked your kids up in the tower on the hill, in the McMansion on the hill, like Mother Gothel or Rapunzel. So, Mother Goiter, sit down, take many seats, and listen up. So, back to Gwen. She starts telling us if they were complaining about trauma and how they don't respect Mother Goiter as one of their moms, and that's her new name now. And frankly, I don't think I would either. Gwen says it's weird because she's always considered those kids siblings, and she's always considered Robin a mom, and she looks in Christine's eyes when she says that. And so obviously she feels comfortable enough expressing that truth and knowing that Christine isn't about to freak out and pop off if she says something like that to her. So, is Christine really completely bad? So we get Aurora explaining that they had been told, that they had learned, I'm going to use Aurora's word, learned that there were negative feelings about them and that they were going to do Christmas without them. And then I got super angry. I almost wanted to get up and leave because there's only a couple of ways they could have learned this information. And that is if one of the two of their parents sat them down and, much like Thanksgiving, told them that no one loved them and nobody wanted to be with them if they were doing Christmas by themselves. So all the fights that we had in December, especially Janelle and Cody's fight, kind of comes into big perspective here because this means that by November, when people were talking about this gift exchange, when all this was going down, the decisions were already made, the lines were already drawn. And so for him to come and fight with Janelle on the 16th of December about Christmas is a little bit childish and actually makes me understand more why Janelle was angry because she had already told you. Anyway, and Brianna says it was felt frustrating for her and she felt hurt and confused. And once again, I see Robin. And it goes back to that thing I was saying where the emotion doesn't reach her eyes. It just feels like she's trying to over emote to show us that instead of letting us feel it from her. It's almost like an actor who gets onto stage for the first time and doesn't quite understand how to convey emotion on stage because they want you to be able to see it. So they're going to use a lot of big gestures. They're going to use a lot of facial expressions instead of just radiating that emotion from themselves. It's a learned skill. Once again, lots of learned skills in this one, but I don't see it because I don't see it in her eyes. So Christine asks Gwen if anything's changing, and Gwen says, no, it's getting progressively worse. She says, Robin says you aren't respecting us and we aren't going to participate in Christmas with you. And so Robin claims that she all of a sudden got kickback, pushback. It's pushback. It's pushback. You keep saying it wrong. It's pushback. An attitude from the other kids. And they gave you ideas. This goes back to that same disrespect thing. Asking a question or giving an idea isn't disrespect. It's dialogue. She says that she and her kids feel like they got voted off the Brown family island. And to me, it feels more like, in Survivor, where I don't know if it's everybody or just toward the end, where when you get voted off, you go to the island that's actually got like food and shelter and you get to stay there. And I guess maybe it's just toward the end with the tribal council, but maybe I'm wrong. I feel like they one by one voted everybody off to that island. And then when they came back to be like, ha ha ha, look at the tribal council, they were like, what the? You weren't supposed to enjoy it there. And so they've isolated themselves on the crappy island where everybody else is getting to spend all the time together eating the good food. That's what I feel like. And I guess the prize that they stayed on that island for was Cody. But okay, whatever. Um, so Gwen tells us that Robin said she wasn't talking to the kids anymore, but just went a step further. And it wasn't, I'm not talking to you anymore, which is already, I'm going to take my ball and go home energy. But she told McKelty and Logan to tell them, as though Logan wants to be involved in this drama. And I'm sure, just given the vibes, McKelty probably did, but whatever. So Garrison tells us it kind of hurt, but the look on his face, and you can almost see tears in his eyes, it more than kind of hurt. So Christine says this is true division. And when you look back to see where lines were drawn, this is a line that was drawn. Garrison elaborates that Robin turns it into them trying to ostracize her, and then she starts playing the victim. He said they pushed back, pointing out that all they wanted to do was find a way to work within your rules for Christmas. And then Cody comes on to scream at us for the millionth time about how these aren't Robin's rules, they're his. And Father Goiter, your can be a plurality. He is not specifically saying to Robin, these belong to you. He is saying your household, the rules in your home. So Garrison says that she took their words and put it through her special victim process. And then Gabe said she was gaslighting. And somewhere deep in the recesses of Coyote Pass, you can hear Cody screaming, "You said it because I said it first." Like, I swear you can hear it if you listen. So um, Gabe then tells us that he feels like Robin thinks she deserves special treatment, and she probably feels like she does because Cody has given her special treatment this whole time. So Gwen says she thinks it's been 8 years of her trying to play the victim, and she even says to Christine, "You never did that." So Garrison calls Robin the catalyst of all of this, and when Christine asks for clarification, he says she used COVID to make Dad exclusive to her home and then wants to pretend she's the victim by claiming it's our fault. And how can you be the victim if you got what you wanted? Gwen says that Dad chose to spend Christmas with her and her kids, and she's right. And Garrison says when they protested for the sake of Christine and Janelle's marriages, things went all to hell. And now that, what did he say? Once that was down the drain, we were cool. We're going to go do this thing. And very astutely, and then he astutely points out that Robin could no longer feel the victim because they stopped caring about her and gave up. And that's when Cody says the thing that made husband leave. He says, I'm going to read this verbatim. All of you are jerks, and I don't want to be around you. And I'm tired of it. I don't want to call them, and I don't want to talk to them. And as somebody's kid, that hurts. But as a father, husband was absolutely devastated. He literally got up and left the room and then came back and shouted at Cody on the television for like 10 minutes straight. I mean, it was bad. Um, mhm. At any rate, um, Garrison comes back with telling us that's why he's done with Robin, and He doesn't care to talk to Robin anymore, and he's not doing it. And he thinks that Robin's just mad that she can't have an effect on their lives anymore. So he's not speaking for the siblings, but he feels like a lot of them would feel the same way, that, you know what, Robin, have him. We don't need a father anymore. And Gwen won't say it didn't care, but it still hurts. Garrison just confidently tells us we don't need a father anymore. And Christine says every kid needs a dad, and she's right. I'm in my 30s, and I still call my dad to ask him questions because sometimes I'm as dumb as a box of rocks, and I just don't know what I need to do with a particular thing. And the best person to go to is my dad. And I'm grateful every day that he's here because, you know, I've come closer than I'd like to come to losing him. And I'm glad that he's here every day to answer my phone calls. And that makes it hurt even worse seeing these kids. Christine says, I'm sorry is a natural response, but she doesn't want to apologize for Cody. And she just wants to have them have it easier and better. Gwen points out, who needs a dad when you have two moms? And Janelle's like, it's not quite like that, but we were sister wives. And Christine's like, we still are. And she said, I may not be able to give my kids a dad, but I can give them Janelle. And Janelle says, I guess when the families merged, we missed a few steps. And Christine says, yeah, we probably did. And she points out that she's been accused of bullying. And she knows that that's code for apparently being unkind to Robin. So Cody comes back and is like, I never accused her of bullying. She's just a crap sister wife. And the only people he brings up in this equation are Janelle and Meri. And no matter how I do the math, no matter what numbers I carry, that doesn't hold weight. Yes, everybody probably did complain a little bit behind the scenes. And that's just natural. Especially when you have such a large family, people are going to say things. So Gwen says that she misses Aurora and Garrison misses Dayton, and he wants to try and mend those relationships with his siblings, but not if Robin is there. He said he is not emotionally mature enough to have a face to face with Robin, and I'm proud of him for knowing that because I don't always know when I am not emotionally mature enough to have a face to face with somebody, and I'm old. So Gwen said that she would think that Robin would try to manipulate them or just start crying, and it's probably true because we've seen that MO from Robin. And yeah, I Janelle's making a face through all of this. It's just great. So Gabe shares that he sees Aurora, and then we get Aurora on screen to tell us. And this is the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, um, this is a massive difference in the way that I think of Aurora versus Brianna. And Aurora just looks and feels more genuine. Either she's a better actor or she actually feels this way. And she talks about how she sees Gabe and they hug and they say, I love you. And they wish each other well and they chat. And that Gabe has been nothing but nice, in her opinion. So now we have them saying that they were told all these horrible, nasty things, but then we have Aurora saying that Gabe's been nothing but nice. So it refutes all of it, and it's just so weird. So Gabe tells Gwen where she can find her because Gwen wants to see her, and now it's up to Gwen to figure out how to say hi. So Christine says that this conversation was hard, and Garrison was super vulnerable. And of course, Cody comes on to tell us it's a divorce, it's a civil war, and she's just fanning the flames. And you know what? Maybe she is, or maybe she really is just trying to give these kids a place to lay their burdens, a place to not feel alone in their upset, right? He thinks she has terrible karma coming. Frankly, that's not how karma works. And even if it did, I don't think it's coming for her. And then Gwen gets upset and says, imagine your father loving you. And Garrison tries to shut everything down. And Savannah's talking over top of him, to tell Gwen, no, he loves you. He's just mad at you for no reason. And that's not great. So we get the next Cody scene that really upset my husband and I. And I'm going to once again read this to you. Every shit talk, every trash talk, every opinion is absolutely reciprocated. I feel the same way about them. And if he was shown what we just saw, I can't. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to be honest. Garrison's right. We need to be done. We need to be done. So, with tears in his eyes in a confessional, Garrison saying that if his siblings wanted to come back and join them for next year's gift exchange or just at all, they would be welcomed with open arms. But that they're not going to be chasing them anymore. And Christine says that's what Flagstaff is. Flagstaff is just the hardest moments of everyone's life. Now we're coming to the easier point, which is the essentially kind of throwaway scene of Avalon's birthday. And I'm sorry, it is. It really is just a scene of Robin taking pictures. We don't get much. They gush about how much they love Tony and McKelty and blah, blah, blah. And we get a reminder that Robin thought that McKelty was super cool and saw something in her no one else did, which what she saw was moving McKelty to her house 4 hours away when she was 13 to be unpaid childcare. Just my opinion. And we move on to Christine's ex anniversary dinner, which to me, once again, kind of a throwaway. Cody does call, claiming he wants to see Truly, and there's where that thing comes back to us, where Christine says that Cody never calls to see Truly. So I don't know if he really thought we were going to fall for that or what the story was. Um, these women ask questions, kind of recapping everything we've seen for the last 18 seasons, and we get Christine advocating for divorce, which I'm not really a fan of. I don't care who does or doesn't get divorced, but I know people in my real life who are like, you should get divorced so we can hang out. No, thank you. No, thank you. I like my husband. I'm gonna stick with him. And that's the kind of thing I don't like. I don't like it when people are pushing it on other people. I'm not saying Christine is. I'm just not a fan of it. Um, so Janelle tells us she doesn't care if Christine tells her stories because she doesn't really feel any loyalty to Cody right now. So it's no big deal. Which fair. And I don't really have a ton else to say about the dinner, except that at some point Cody insists that Christine forced her way into his family. And okay, if that's how you want to look at it now, whatever. Nothing I can do about it. And you married her and had 6 kids with her and then tried to force her to not leave. Just saying. So, yeah, I don't really have a ton to say about Cody's feelings on Christine forcing her way into the family. Uh, what are you going to say? There's nothing to say. So the rest of it is kind of meh. And then we get the mid-season trailer. And the most important part of the mid-season trailer to me was when, like Cody says, to me, uh, was Meri looking Cody in the eyes and says, I know you're capable of loving me. You've loved me before. And like a coward, he's like, I can't be what you want me to be to you. Which, if that isn't the most television lifetime movie line I've ever heard. And then she looks at Robin and she looks Robin straight in the eye and says, this isn't fair to me. I don't want this. And breaks up with Robin, which frankly, that's probably even better. I know I should not be excited at this petty level. It's not even that I'm excited that, oh, you hurt somebody. I'm excited that Meri finally is going to go live her life. I'm excited for her to finally move on. Oh gosh. So I know that there's more bombshells coming. I am so excited to go through them all with you guys. If this is mid-season, we probably have maybe somewhere between 6 and 8 more episodes together, and I will be here for all of it. So in that time span, think of other things you might want to see from me. Let me know. I'll start watching Sister Wives from the beginning, or I'll start watching other shows, whatever it is that you guys think you might want to see. Just tell me down in the comments, and I'll take a look at it and see if we can make anything fun out of it. I know this has been a super long video, and I'm really happy that you've stuck with me through the whole thing, or at least through most of it. For those of you who have made it to the end, thank you. Thank you so much. I just recently checked my creator page, and we are up to 138 subscribers on this channel, and that is amazing. I genuinely thought we'd never hit 50. I thought we'd never hit 100, and now we're pushing 150. So I'm going to set my goal. I would like to hit 200 by Christmas. We'll see if we can do it. If we can, great. If we can't, okay, no big deal. But that's my goal. My goal is 200 by Christmas time. So thank you so much for joining me. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like so I know to make more videos like this. Leave me a comment letting me know what you want to see from me going forward. And I will catch you back here for more Sister Wives drama as soon as the next teaser trailer drops. Bye.